What's up guys, I'm Steven. So I spent years working on putting my workshop together, and the whole point of it for me is making a space where I can build anything without having to leave the room. The tools to make anything, the spare parts to make anything, the software to make anything, and I think I've done a pretty good job of that. I feel like I can make most prototypes that I might want to make without ever having to leave this room. So today, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a challenge and make a widget using only what's inside this room. Now I already have an idea for what I want to do. I love wasting time on Pinterest just looking at like cool cyberpunk workshops and stuff, and I found this little planter thing. It kind of looks like a plant, but it's like mechanical and electronic, and it looks cool and I want one. So I'm gonna try and make that thing today without leaving this room. Now, to be fair, I already kind of cheated a little bit. Hold on. All right, so this is gonna be the actual plant. It's this cool like aloe thing I found on Thingiverse. I'll add a link in the description where you can find it if you wanna print this yourself. I printed this on a Form 3 at work. I didn't print it in my workshop, so I know I kind of technically cheated, but it was in my workshop when I decided to do this challenge, so I guess it's not cheating? Whatever. Everything else from here on out will be fabricated inside the constraints of my workshop, and I'd love to make this thing have a rechargeable battery that charges inductively. I know I have an Adafruit like inductive charging kit thing, so I'll probably end up using that so the little pot can just like sit in a base and then it recharges from there, and then you can pick it up and like move it around like a little lantern kind of thing. I think that'd be pretty cool. Okay, because 3D printing is the most time consuming part, I'm gonna start with CAD and start printing all that stuff out so I can work concurrently in the background on the other stuff that doesn't take as long. Here we go. All right, we've got a design. So I imported the aloe plant into Fusion, and then I started modeling a pot to go around it. And I just tried to like add a whole bunch of weird little features in there. It's gonna look so cool. I can't wait to like actually get it and make it. And you can see there's a big circle in the bottom. This is for the inductive charging. This is really thin at the bottom, and then there's a base piece that adapts this. And this base piece, the yellow thing, is gonna hold the charging side of the induction kit. So this will just fit right there in that circle, and then it'll be able to charge up into the pot, and then the pot will have a whole bunch of like charging circuitry and stuff to recharge a LiPo battery on board. And that brings me to the circuit boards. So because I'm only making this in my apartment, I can't order a board. I have to do it all on one-sided boards because that's the only thing I'm like currently set up to do with my mill. So I have to kind of get creative on how I'm gonna make this whole thing work. So the PCB slots in like this. And this gives me a lot of things that I think are really cool. It gives me a place to put surface mount LEDs to shine out of like the side of the pot, but it doesn't really give me a way to shine light up into the actual plant. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna make another circuit board that goes on top at 90 degrees, and I'm gonna use a little right angle header to solder them together and connect it at a right angle. And that's this guy. So if you get rid of the pot and the base, you get this kind of thing, these two circuit boards that are gonna be soldered together at a right angle. All right, so now that all the design is done, I'm gonna take the STLs for the pot and the base, and I'm gonna slice them and send them to my TAS and get those printing. And then while those are printing, I'm gonna design the circuit boards so that I can mill them out and start populating them with components. Cool, 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 cool. Whee! All right, here we go. Got parts. So this is the pot that I designed, which is gonna hold our little cyberpunk planner and our battery and our circuit boards and all that stuff. And then here's the little base. Plus, of course, I milled some circuit boards. Bam! This is the main motherboard circuit board, which is gonna have like the microcontroller and stuff on it, ports for all the buttons, blah, 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 blah. And then this is the one that holds the LEDs pointing straight upwards. So they're gonna look like that. Ooh, ah. And this is the coolest part. This one is cut very specifically such that it can slide on in there just like that. And that'll hold it in place, no problem. And then we can mount the LED one right on top like that, and that will shine LEDs right up into our little plant thingy. Plus those little spots for the inductive charging, you can see the little circle on the bottom here will receive this coil pretty darn well. Not too shabby, it fits like just perfectly. Haha, look at that. I'm also gonna need to cannibalize a 12 volt power supply to go into the charging base, which I have like literally 20 of those, so still within the rules on that one. Wow, that's sick. What is up, my dudes? Progress report. Look at this conglomeration of items I have glued together with molten metal. It's like Cthulhu and an electrical engineer had a baby. But I am happy to report this does something. And even better, it does the thing I wanted it to do. Let me just break down this dumpster fire real quick. Get you nice in real close, just scooch you on in here. Oh yeah. Ew. This lovely little number is the ATmega 32U4. This puppy's running the show. This lovely array of rainbow wires goes out to an Arduino that is being used to program the whole situation. All of these wires go to buttons, which interface into the pot and let me control things. Plus we have an explodey packet, colloquially known as a LiPo battery. This thing is providing the oomph. And of course this doohickey, which is giving us 5 volts through induction. Plus a bunch of lights, because that's the whole point of this darn thing. Now you just saw me load firmware onto this thing, and it took you about 3 seconds to witness that. It took me about 8 hours to debug a long line of firmware issues. So when I turn on the power, literally nothing happens and I'm excited about it. Arduino's gone. Sometimes that causes a snafu. I'll be right back. Ya boy did an oopsie. Okay, problem solved. So, clearly, we got some lights going on. Sweet. Now, in this firmware that I wrote, there are modes. Let me tell you about said modes. This is undulate, I believe I called it in my code. It just pretty much has rainbow for the top lights and it just bops on through them without a care in the world. Hair down, it's living its best life. Now, if you say, oh boy, which button is this? Not that one. So you can see these rainbows are clipping right along. Maybe a little fast for some people, you know? Maybe you just want to enjoy each color for what it is and not just fly through them with reckless abandon. I've got a setting for you. If you press this button, it slows down. Gives you time to stop and smell the roses. Now let's say you're sick and tired of this rainbow business and you want something else entirely. Button number 3 gives you an option to switch modes. This is just solid white mode if you just purely want a lantern. The practical side of things. Now you'll notice here it's not just the top LEDs, But the one on the motherboard too is also lighting up. Very cool, I know. It should be shining through a few of the features in the pot. I'm excited to see how that looks. Now this one's a little boring, albeit practical, so I threw in a third one. Oh, wrong button. This mode just picks a color, puts that one on top, and then it picks kind of the reverse if my code does what I wanted it to, and makes the onboard LED do that. It just kind of hangs out at one color. Now here's the real cheeky part. I can press this button to change the color of the lights. Blue, dark blue, purple, pink, red, yellow, green. You get the picture. Huh, hang tight there, champ. Turn off the workshop. This looks so cool. Oh, I forgot to show you arguably the coolest part. You see this guy, the inductive charging thing? Well, it works. This is the base printed out and painted, and all I did was toss in the transmitting half of the 5-volt inductive thingy. Hold on to your socks, folks. When you hold this near this, it just starts charging. And you can tell because there's actually little charging lights on it, just like the glow tie. It would light up those lights to tell you it's charging, it's done. Same thing on this guy. All right, lights off. Ladies and gentlemen, we have liftoff. Cool, so this whole thing works. Now all I need to do is take all of this mess and smush it into the pot. Alright, I am super stoked with how this came out. This is pretty much what I was imagining when I set out on this project. This is pretty much what I wanted. It's just like a cyberpunk plant thing. The one thing I don't really like about it is the plant itself is very organic, but then the whole pot is very like hard-edged, like mechanical. So I think if I were to do it again, I would print a different topper, like a crystal, like a hard-edged thing, but the cool part is I can just make another one of these. This just pops right in. And I know you all probably caught this, but I cheated again, not just on this thing, but I laser cut a piece of acrylic. So I guess I didn't technically do it all in my workshop, but all of this, all of the actual like logic and the body of this and all the finishing and all the electronics to make it do this, truly nothing outside of my apartment went into making this. I did kind of punt on this a little bit, so my B. But I'm still taking it as a win. Ooh, you can't see that, can you? Turn off the workshop. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one. This came out super cool. And of course, it charges inductively in like an adorable little base that fits it perfectly. Really stoked about that. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my Instagram where I post updates and pictures and videos about my projects way before they come out on YouTube. And I'll see you next time. This is Harold. Harold's my plant friend. He has a way with color.